Hello, Trace Perot here. This is my channel 20 at 70, which I created because I feel like I'm 20 at 70. And the reason for that is because I'm a low-fat raw vegan. And I have been a raw vegan for 30 years. The last 15 years have been as an 80-10-10 raw vegan, which is a method of eating created by, what's his name? Doug Graham. Dr. Doug Graham. Yeah, thank God he came around. Anyways, yeah, I'm here to share my experience as a raw vegan in Hawaii and to share whatever knowledge and whatever I might have that will make your path easier if you're considering becoming a vegetarian, a vegan, a raw vegan. So yeah, that's why I created this channel. I think this is video number 15. Don't quote me on that. And the title of this video is, Are You Food Dumb? Okay. So food dumb is a term I use to describe myself when I first started out with this kind of regime. I didn't have a clue, really. I only knew that natural was better than artificial, and that's basically the way I went. That's what started me on this. But it also, the term food dumb refers to anybody who doesn't have the basic concepts of how to properly nourish a human body. We go through, most of us go through our entire life not really knowing, what exactly it is that we need to do to nourish our bodies to get the maximum amount of energy, the maximum amount of health. We just don't know, right? We've been programmed. We've been fed a lot of information by mass media, most of it, if not all of it, inaccurate. I just want to set the record a little straight, especially if you're starting out on this or you're only a year or two into it. You may not know these things. So I'm just going to assume that everybody out there is, to some degree, food dumb, as I am still in certain areas. But I think I do have the basic knowledge to properly nourish myself and reap all the benefits therein, which are numerous. So the first thing I want to do, I just want to talk a little bit about the fact that actually I did make it to the age of 70. Haha! So now I can actually say that I'm 20, that I feel like I'm 20 at the age of 70. So, I'm thinking about this and I'm going, if you're 50, you're old to somebody who's 20 or 30. They go, 50, oh, that guy's old, right? But it's not really old in the bigger scheme, right? When you hit the 60s, well, you're kind of getting there, right? You're not, 50 is considered to be young when you're 60. So, but when you hit 70, I'm talking like archetypical connotations of these ages according to, traditional beliefs of human beings and cultures, When you hit 70, well, that's old, okay? I mean, you're old. In conventional terms, right? When you hit 80, well, you're on your way. You're on your way out, right? When you're in your 80s, it could be any day. Of course, that's for people who are eating a conventional diet, Needless to say, I don't buy any of that rot. 70's great. I'll tell you a little bit about my week, my birthday week. During the 5 days leading up to the day that I celebrated my birthday, which was Saturday, the 14th of May, and including the day afterwards, I got an average. I added up all the hours that I had slept during that week, and the average was 3 hours per night. Okay. So over the course of 5 nights, 5 times 3 is 15. Over the course of 5 nights, I had a total of 15 hours sleep. And yes, I functioned quite well. I don't recommend doing this kind of thing, but I just had to do it. I didn't have any choice. There were people out sick at work. 3 people actually had COVID, supposedly, the flu, right? Like I said before, if you're a low-fat raw vegan, I don't even think you can test positive for COVID. At any rate, we had 3 people out, so I worked, that week, I must have worked at least 65, 70 hours. But I was determined to celebrate my birthday on Saturday, so I managed to get Saturday off. And on Saturday, the little city of Pahoa had its second Saturday art and music walk. And so I used to do that every month. I used to play with one of my groups in the street in front of a pizza parlor, no less. And so they knocked that off for the 2 years that we were involved in the greatest scam ever foisted on the human race, called COVID. And when that was over, now they're starting it back up. So I have 2 groups that played last Saturday. One played 3 to 5 at the natural food store. The other one played 6 to 9. So what that meant is that I had to do all the setting up the sound system and all that, and then I had to tear it down and then take it to the next venue and set it up again. So it was quite a long day. And at any rate, I had worked all these hours and blah, blah, blah. So, this is something that I don't recommend people do, going without sleep. But it's also something that is impossible unless you're doing heavy drugs like methamphetamine or something. Or, you're drinking coffee all day long, every day for 5 days. Or if you're a low-fat, raw vegan, because you need a lot less sleep on a low-fat, raw vegan diet. And your recovery rate is tremendously shorter, okay? So that's what I did on my birthday. I had a great time. Both these bands I front, so I got to sing and play guitar a lot. And, and there was people, especially the Boogie Woogie Pizza gig at night in the street. There was all kinds of people walking by and stopping and dancing in the street and everything. So it was great fun. So anyways, what else can I say about being 70? I don't know. I'm certainly glad I know what the hell I'm doing when it comes to food, because I see all day long, I hear people, I see people on Facebook, I'm going in for my cancer surgery, it's the 3rd one in 3 years, and I'm going to have my triple bypass surgery. And, these people are 50, 60, 50, 60 years old. So, I encounter this all day long. And sometimes I'll write a comment. I'll just say, go to my station 20 at 70, and I'll say something like, turn the page, okay? The time is now, all right? You either learn how to, provide your body with health, or you suffer. That's basically it. When you get over the age of 50, that's the equation. So, basically my message there is to stop messing around. Yes, you're going to have to use something like bananas as a staple, and that's the comment you get, right? Oh, I don't want to eat bananas all day long, face up to it, because that's what you need to do. Otherwise, you're just going to become a victim of the pharmaceutical industry and agribusiness, both of which have 99% of Americans, and who knows how many people in the rest of the world, they've got them, excuse the expression, by the balls. And they're working them, So if you don't want to experience that scenario, you need to get with the program. Simple as that. And the program is low-fat, raw vegan. You need to transition into that. You need to leave the rest of it behind. I don't care what your upbringing was. I don't care how great your Thanksgivings were when you got together and ate turkey and all this other stuff. Forget it. That's over. Okay, we're in a new millennium. You either go forward with plant-based diets from this point on, or you're going to get lost in the shuffle. You're going to get victimized, and you're going to suffer. Simple as that. So, anyways, that's all I have to say about that. Now, so on the last video, which was quite a while ago, I kind of took a little break. You know, you got to kind of let things sort of mull a little bit. And so the last video I did was on fitness. It was all about heavy hands. Let me go get my, I want to show you. Now I didn't mention the fact that if you're going to do this exercise, and now that I've put this out on the internet, I'm sure all of you have gone out and started doing it, right? No, but someday you will, okay? Sometimes it takes a while for somebody to realize, you know, the accuracy of what I'm talking about, because I've been doing this for 30 years, so, you know, I've been doing this for 15. So, anyways, you only want to get these, okay? They're called heavy hands, all right? They're a handle, all right? And you screw different size weights on, okay? This happens to be a 5-pound weight. I think you can go up to like 8, 9, 10 pounds, right? And when you use these, when you're walking and you're swinging them and everything, you keep your hands open, okay? You got to keep your hands open, because if you clench them, it causes a rise in blood pressure, which is not very healthy for you. So you keep them open like that. And that's the reason why they have a handle. There's 3 different sizes. There's small, medium, and large. You don't want one that's slipping around, so when you drop it like this, it falls off. You know, this one is actually too big for me. I have another pair of handles that are just right. And so, yeah, I just wanted to make that point. If you're going to do this, do it right. You know, you can get these things on eBay or Amazon all day long. There's probably a website that's all about heavy hands where you can purchase these. And naturally, you start out with weights that are like 1, because you're going to be very surprised at how little stamina you have when you start out with this. Just swinging 1 or 2 pound weights. Of course, when you use one weight, it's a ½ pound here, a ½ pound here. Just using 1 or 2 pound weights, you're going to find out that you really don't have the stamina to do this for very long. It's really surprising, you know. So I'm sure if you took a professional football player and you put him out there with a 5-pound weight and you told him to walk swinging this to zone 1 or 2 for 45 minutes, he would totally fail, right? It's just the way it is, you know. When you start driving your exercise with your hands, your arms, it's a whole different ball game. So, anyways, I just wanted to make that point. So, did I learn anything about food? Not really. I was kind of delinquent this week. I didn't really do any research or get into anything particular about food. So, no, I didn't learn anything about food, and that's just the way it is sometimes. But I'm sure that will change in the near future. Anyways, we're going to talk about food dumb, being food dumb. Okay, so when I started this, I was totally food dumb, okay? I kind of knew what a carbohydrate was. I don't know. I may have associated it with like soda pop or pasta or something, you know? But I didn't really know, you know, and this is the interesting thing, because although we don't come into this world with a manual, about the best manual we're ever going to have is Graham's book, The 80-10-10 Diet, okay? And, you know, there's a lot of education in there in terms of food. But at any rate, the average person, like I was pretty much the average person when I started this, you know, you don't know about these things. You know, what you know is, well, I got to eat meat to get protein. That's the primary reason to eat meat, okay? Total myth. Obviously, there's a lot more fat in all kinds of animal products than there is protein. So total myth, you know. That's really the big one. That's really the one thing that people seem to know. And also, you know, when I was a kid, they used to show us these films of people coming from the Dust Bowl and immigrating to the West Coast, right? And they would show these kids, right, wandering around, and they had stopped in Arizona or someplace, and they had their Model T Ford, and the kids would be running around, and they would be like a starvation level, but they were eating a lot of fruit because there were fruit orchards on the way, and they had these big distended bellies. So one of the myths that grew up when I was young was that if you ate a lot of fruit, or if you only ate fruit, you'd get these big distended bellies, right? So you didn't want to eat a lot of fruit, right? So those are two things that people knew when I was growing up about food. They also were indoctrinated on the idea that milk gave you strong bones. That milk was full of calcium, gave you strong bones. Okay, so there's a third one. What else? Well, you know, things like everybody drank coffee, so coffee had no detrimental effect. Coffee was not particularly bad for you in any way. And everybody drank it, so since everybody was doing it, it was perfectly acceptable. And there wasn't any negative speak towards things like caffeine. The same actually went for soft drinks, soda pop and stuff like that. People didn't know. They didn't know what was in them. You know, they just knew it was sweet and refreshing on a hot day, and that was about it. So these are the things that I grew up with. So then my education kind of started when I chose to become a vegetarian, and then a vegan, cooked vegan, and finally a raw fooder. As I made those choices, I had to educate myself. So the first thing I think that I got in terms of education, in terms of not being food dumb, was information from the book called Fit for Life. And that's because I happened to be lucky. I was working in Motown Productions at that time in the video production department, and down there in Hollywood at Sunset and Vine, and the owner was a heavyweight in more ways than one. Suzanne DePass, she was Barry Gordy's right-hand person, and came with him from Detroit to settle in Los Angeles, and she was overweight, and about this time, Harvey and Marilyn Diamond wrote this book called Fit for Life, and it got on the top 10, the New York top 10 bestseller book, and it became kind of it was adopted by Hollywood people, and so she picked up on this book, and she decided to do a video for them. You know, a video to accompany the book. So that's the first real information I got that pointed me away from food dumb. Okay. And the primary thing in that book was all about eating fruit till noon. Okay. And the benefits of eating fruit till noon, how it cleaned out your system, how it allowed your, digestive system to reset for the day's food. And there were a couple of other concepts in there that were very fundamental that people should know if they're starting out on this. And one is the concept of high water content food and low water content food. Okay, and the gist of it is that low water content food is more difficult to digest. Okay, low water content meaning higher density. So anything with a high density, like steak or walnuts or cheese or pasta, these things all have high density, low water content. Okay. And the opposite of that, of course, is high water content food, which are fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables have anywhere from an 80% water content all the way up to 95% water content. And, something like a banana has 95% water content. Okay, so it's very high water content food. Water content food tends not to take away your energy. It's easier to digest. Okay. Yeah, and it has to be combined in certain ways. All right. So, the other thing that people don't realize, that I didn't realize, let's talk about food categories. So I identified high water content and low water content. Okay, so all food can be divided in those two categories. The next category are the three macronutrients, which are carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. Okay, macronutrients. I guess they're called macro because you tend to take a lot of them in, and because your body needs them for functioning, for all the basic functions that your body goes through, okay? The third category would be animal products versus plant-based products, okay? This differentiation was not made until 15, 20 years ago by the general population. Now, when you say plant-based to somebody, they kind of get it. They go, well, you mean you don't have any milk or cheese, or you can't eat fish? Or, they kind of get the idea. So that would be the third category. The fourth category is fruit, how you break down fruit. So there are three types of fruit. There are acid fruit, oranges, lemons, limes, grapefruit, tangelos. These are all acid fruits. Okay, that's kind of obvious because they kind of have that crinkly sort of acidic quality about them. So they're called acid fruits. Then there's subacid fruits. Oh, and also in acid fruits are all the berries like grapes and cranberries and blackberries and blueberries and strawberries. Okay, those are all subacid fruits. Or acid fruits. So the next category is what you call subacid fruit, which is things that have a little bit of sweetness to them. Okay, they're not so acidic, and that makes all the difference in the world when you're food combining. So subacid fruit are like an apple, a peach, a pear. Okay. A chico sapote if you live in the tropics. Okay, what else is an acid fruit? So you get the idea, right? It's something that's not quite acidic like a citrus. It's got a little bit of sweetness, got a best of both worlds, right? Okay, these two categories of fruit they have very, very few calories, right? So like I heard on the internet the other day, somebody, a raw foodist preparing, a raw vegan preparing dinner, was going through what I ate in a day, right? And she said, well, I had these 2 huge glasses of orange juice, and then I had, 3 apples and 5 pears, and that's the fruit I ate for the day. And then when she got around to lunchtime, she goes, oh, I don't need to eat any fruit because I had all that orange juice, right? I had all that orange juice. Whoa, the geckos are going crazy. So what? There's no calories in orange juice, okay? So you're cutting yourself short. I don't know what she felt like the next day, but she was definitely not getting enough carbohydrates. So those 3 categories of fruit, the third category, which is high-density sweet fruit. High density meaning it's high density in calories, not particularly in water. So it's not a low water content fruit or food, which is also referred to as a dense food. Okay. No, so the third category, high density sweet fruit, means it's highly dense in calories. Yes, it does have a little consistency that is more opaque and more dense than an orange, right? High density sweet fruit. Number 1 on the list, bananas, available just about anywhere in the world, organically, economically. So, if you're going to your optimal level of health, your optimal level of diet, you need to have a relationship with bananas. Okay, because bananas, yes, some days you will be eating bananas all day long. Okay. And it's not bad. In fact, I wouldn't trade it for any other way of eating, right? I mean, there's many ways you can doctor up bananas so they taste out of this world. But I'll tell you right now, one of the best smoothies you can have is bananas and water. It tastes out of this world, okay? And on top of that, then you can start adding things like kiwis. You can add papayas, make great combination with bananas. Mangoes, absolutely lovely combination with bananas, right? So you learn, and these are all subacid fruits, right? Except for papaya, that's another high-density sweet fruit. You can put dates in there, which is a high-density sweet fruit. So you can, you use the bananas as a base, and then you doctor them up, right? So those are the three categories of sweet fruit. More examples of high-density sweet fruit are, of course, dates, papayas, and you get into the tropical fruits. In the tropics, there's a lot more high-density sweet fruit, like jackfruit, champadak, ackee, meringue, absolutely one of the most fantastically tasting fruits in the world. If you've never had a meringue, try to get a hold of one. And then we have durian, okay, Rollinia. We have meme zapote. Okay, so these are all high-density sweet fruits. And they all have that texture that's much more opaque and dense than a subacid or acid fruit, okay? So the high-density sweet fruit, that is fuel, okay? That's where you get your calories, right? So if you do nothing else on a raw food diet, you gotta get a lot of high-density fruit, okay? And if you're hung up in making all these fancy raw vegan dishes and you're not paying attention and you're having a couple of glasses of orange juice in the morning and maybe a couple apples along the way, no, you forget all that. You want to go straight to the bananas and work from there, okay? So the next category, which I guess would be the fifth category, would be this idea of carbohydrates and the difference between simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. Okay, an example of a simple carbohydrate is high-density sweet fruit, a banana. That's a simple carbohydrate. High water content, full of calories, very easy to digest, okay, versus complex carbohydrates, okay? Now, if you look up carbohydrates and you look for a definition like I just did about a half an hour ago, what's going to come up are a lot of these things where they're saying you want to avoid simple carbohydrates because they have a lot of sugar and they're going to load your bloodstream up with too much sugar, and that's going to lead to diabetes, and so blah blah blah. Of course, total ignorance. What causes you to build up high blood sugar is not the carbohydrates, it's the fat, okay? So we'll get into that in a minute. That's another basic thing you need to know if you're not going to be food dumb. So anyways, the complex carbohydrates are all the cooked carbohydrates like grains, potatoes, starch, beans, all that kind of stuff that when you cook them, that are mostly eaten as cooked food, right? These things are difficult to digest, okay? I can't confirm this, but I'm sure they have a lot to do with coating your intestinal tract with mucoid plaque. So they're difficult to digest. They almost have to be cooked, okay? Even though many of them are cooked in water, they wind up being low water content foods, so they're even more difficult to digest, okay? So there's this big difference between simple and complex. Now, if you're doing the complex and you're cooking them, the other factor is that every time you eat cooked food, you're increasing your white blood cell count to the level that your body brings your white cells up to fight foreign invaders, infections, diseases, okay? So eating cooked food is exactly the same as having a virus in your body, right? Your body reacts to it just the same. It's a foreign invader, okay? Who knows what the long-term effects are, but personally, I think it's primarily responsible for aging responses, especially in terms of your body deteriorating, your energy level deteriorating. Who knows what kind of diseases and compromises you're getting to your organs by raising your white blood cell count. I know that over time, since your capacity to produce white blood cells is limited, okay, the more that you raise it, the more the lesser capacity you have to use that mechanism when you really need it, when you really do have a foreign invader, okay? So, it's obvious to me, if you get into your 60s, 70s, and 80s, you don't want to lose the capacity to fight those things off, right? And that's what happens when you eat cooked food 3 times a day for your entire life. Okay, this is a huge motivation for being a low-fat raw vegan. Anyways, those are my categories of food, okay? And really, if you want to get a degree from Food University, you need to know those categories and know how to use them, okay? So that, or just be very familiar with them. Now, the big thing that people are just totally ignorant of is this whole idea of food combining, okay? So this is something that you have to know about, and I've gotten into it. I think I even have a video about food combining. So I'll just refer you to that video. Just look back through. It was in the early, it was like number 5 or 6, right? Because food combining is a rather extensive subject, okay? I can break it down for you. Let me do it this way. Here's what you need to know, okay? Your optimal combinations of food, okay? There's 5 that I have listed. The first optimal combination, I'm sorry, let's do it the other way. Your first totally avoid, a combination that you want to totally avoid, which a lot of people don't know about it, is you don't want to combine acid fruit with sweet fruit, okay? This is a bad combination. The one in the middle, the subacid fruit, you can combine with anything except for cooked carbohydrates or cooked fat or cooked protein. So if you're a low-fat raw vegan, you can eat subacid fruit all day long with anything, and there's no problem. However, acid fruit, so the next combination we want to look at is, what do you eat acid fruit with? Acid fruit you can eat with vegetables and greens, okay? But you shouldn't be eating it with sweet fruit, okay? The next combination that's to be avoided is eating fruit of any kind with a cooked carbohydrate or a complex carbohydrate. You don't want to do that. It's going to ferment in your stomach. It's going to cause gas. It may even cause, if the cooked complex carbohydrate, if it's a protein food actually, like a steak or something, it's definitely going to putrefy, right, in your system. It's going to clog up your system. It's going to mean that you won't be pushing that food out for 3 or 4 days, which leads to all kinds of toxic conditions in your colon. It's probably responsible for a majority of mental illness because of the gut biome connection to the brain, the gut-brain connection that they're beginning to elucidate now. So the other combination, the next one you want to avoid, is sweet fruit with fat or protein, okay? So if you're putting chia seeds in your banana smoothie in the morning, no, that's not what you want to do. And I see this all day long on the internet. Oh, we're going to put some superfood chia seeds in our blender or blend up with bananas and whatnot. No, don't do that. Fat and protein do not combine well with sweet fruit. You can combine them with subacid fruit. You can combine them with acid fruit. but not sweet fruit. Bad way to go. So the next one is, let's see, to look at my cheat sheet. Okay, so 2 or more different kinds of fat. All right, this is a combination you want to avoid. So, if you're eating avocados, if you're having a dressing on your salad or you're slicing an avocado into a salad, you don't want to eat nuts or seeds with that, okay? You got to choose one fat for your dinner, and that's what you have to go through. Will it kill you if you eat a few nuts? No, I do it occasionally. If I'm having a sliced avocado on my salad, I might eat a couple of Brazil nuts or something. It does make a slight difference in your digestive process. Will it kill you? No. Will it make you sick? I doubt it, okay? But, optimally, you don't want to do that combination, which is 2 different kinds of fats, okay, in one meal. So I think those are the basic combinations. That sort of gives you an idea. You want to realize also, if you're food dumb, you think that the keto diet or the Atkins diet makes you lose weight because you're eating protein and not carbs. Okay. Well, to some extent that's true, because if you're not eating carbs, you're not combining carbs and protein, or should call it fat food. And that is a proper way to digest food. That's a proper combination. So, but people are not, they could get the same result on a keto, on a diet that only ate carbohydrates and no protein. Okay. They'd get the same weight loss results. And actually that would be much healthier for you if you did that. So, so you need to know that. I mean, if you still think that's the case, you're totally food dumb. I mean, you just don't know about food. Okay, there's no benefit to eating strictly animal protein and eliminating the carbohydrates. You're going to lose weight. 6 months down the road, you're going to start getting sick, and then you're going to bounce back to eating carbohydrates because you don't have much energy, and blah, 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 So this is just something the meat industry produces. I'm sure they're behind the scenes pumping money into the whole marketing campaign for the keto and the paleo and the Atkins diet. And like Doug Graham says, it comes up every 10 years. They invent a new diet that's low carb, high fat. I need to check the time real quick. Yeah, so I've got 5 more minutes before I gotta run off, get on a bus. I'm wearing my biking clothes, so I have to run off. So let me just wrap it up. I'll probably add a trailer onto this. I don't know if I covered everything I wanted to cover. So most of the island, the big island of Hawaii, is actually arid with very little rain. So we're going through that part right now, but this is what most of the island looks like on the interior. So I'm cruising through the resorts on the west side. This is Waikoloa Resort. So I've come down through, I've come over the Belt Road through the interior of Hawaii Island. And now I've dropped down to the west coast, north of Kona, which is much more arid. And what they've done is they've basically taken a lava flow with essentially no biology as far as plants and whatnot, and they graded it, and they've created this huge city. This one even has a train, its own train, but it's full of beaches and malls and condominiums and golf courses and guaranteed sunshine most of the year. So, I thought I'd finish this video doing Salamba Sirsasana, which is the headstand. I've been working on this again. I've been doing this for 30 years, but I'm trying to work up to 20 minutes every single day. And I'm at 10 minutes right now, so I'm increasing it 1 minute a week. And what I'm finding is that it keeps me, it does something to your brain. Obviously, it opens up the capillaries so it gets more blood to your brain, but it makes me way more present so that I'm not thinking about other things when I'm actually doing something. So I'm finding a significant difference in that ability at this point to just be able to concentrate a whole lot better and not get all spaced out and ADD when I'm, and to be more present, because if you've delved into that aspect of consciousness, being present in whatever you're doing is probably the best path to a spiritual existence. And it's also a best path to just the quality of what you actually do, to be totally present. So I'm finding that Salamba Sirsasana, doing it every day, and I'm determined to get this so that I do it every day, just totally tremendously increases your ability to be present. It also, believe it or not, helps with hair loss, so you can keep your hair much longer because you're opening up the capillaries and getting blood in there, and the hair follicles are staying a lot more healthy. And it will decrease the amount of lines you get in your face. So standing on your head will keep you from aging in your facial area. Not only that, it just has tremendous benefits in every other aspect. So you're turning your entire body upside down. So all your organs are now being acted on by reverse gravity. Okay. So, you're shaking out all your organs, which has got to be healthy for them. It's kind of like an internal massage. The longer you stay up here, the less comfortable it gets. So it's a great training for sitting with discomfort. Okay, so if you're only doing a minute or two or three or four or whatever, it's not really just uncomfortable, but it's not the most comfortable position in the world. And if you just close your eyes and you be with that, you be with that discomfort, it's great training, because as I have found out, you don't want to run away from pain. You want to be with it, because the more you're with it, the less its severity. So you just be present with the pain. It might even increase a little bit, whatever that pain may be, but then it goes away because you're present with it. You're not trying to escape it. So anyways, I wanted to add some comments, especially to the food combining thing. Okay, so the first one I can think of is that sweet fruit and greens, or just sweet fruit, takes 4 hours to clear your stomach. So when you're doing food combining, you want to consider that. So you don't want to eat any fat or vegetables other than greens for 4 hours after you've eaten your last bit of sweet fruit. That doesn't go for subacid fruit. You can eat that anytime. Same goes for vegetables and fat, both, either or one with the other, or vegetables and protein. That takes, properly combined, that takes about 4 hours to get out of your stomach. So if you have a meal of nuts and salad, you don't want to eat any sweet fruit for 4 hours. You can eat all the acid and subacid fruit you want,
but no sweet food for 4 hours after that kind of meal. The other thing I wanted to bring up as far as being food dumb is that if you think there's no difference, significant difference between organic food and conventional food, then you're completely food dumb. Okay, and I have a whole video on that. It was like 2 or 3 videos ago, so it was like 10, 11, 12, something like that. All about the differences between organic and conventional food. So if you think organic food is some kind of marketing ploy and it's not really, there's no big difference, and it's just people trying to make money off of semantics, think again, because you're displaying your food dumbness, if that's what you think. What else? Gosh, that's about all I can think of in this particular position at this moment. The nice thing about a headstand is there's all kinds of stuff you can do to make it more interesting and to get further deeper into your organs. You can do this kind of stuff. There is actually a quarter size area on the top of your head on which you put all your weight. But you can do lots of stuff while you're up here. You can do, Padmasana, which is crossing your legs. Oh, it's kind of hard. I didn't do any warm-up, so. And then you can maneuver that around. You can turn, both ways. You can do the splits. You can turn both ways with the splits. All really great for the spine. And all the time you're, increasing the blood pressure in your upper body, which is lower than the blood pressure in your lower body. And that causes the capillaries and veins and whatnot to increase their blood flow. So you can imagine how tremendously good it is for your brain. I'm getting a little sinus thing when I'm up here, so I sound like I have a cold, now. It does, just great stuff for all your organs, especially in your upper body. So I'm just going to cut this off. And the one thing about Salamba Sirsasana, the headstand, is that you want to do the shoulder stand afterwards for the same length of time. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is that the headstand tends to compress the vertebra in your neck a little bit. So a shoulder stand will help stretch that out again. And the other thing is that for some reason, if you don't do the shoulder stand after doing the headstand, you will have a tendency to get angry, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure why that is, but BKS Iyengar cites that in his book, Light on Yoga, that, your temper will become increasingly intense if you're doing the headstand without the shoulder stand afterwards. Also, the headstand is great for post-jogging because jogging pools the blood in your legs and takes it away from your hair follicles, which causes hair loss. And so if you go jogging, you want to do a headstand after jogging. Anyways, that's about it for the headstand stuff. And I will check out at this point.
So I wanted to do a demonstration of Salamba Sarvangasana, which is the shoulder stand. So basically I like to approach it like this. Bring your legs up.
And eventually you will straighten your spine out, put your hands behind your back for support, and you lock your chin in. Now it's best to put a towel underneath your shoulders. Okay. Let me go back so I can do it right off the edge of the mat. There. That way it lowers my head. Well, not quite. But anyway. So yeah, this stretches your neck vertebra out. It also bathes your thyroid gland and your neck in blood. So your thyroid regulates a lot of hormone production, which is very important for regulating all the systems in the body. So if you're bathing it in blood for 10 minutes every day, you're doing it a tremendous service. Now, there's other things about the shoulder stand that are really cool. One is that you can, it's easier to pull yourself into Padmaasana in the shoulder stand. And when you get there, you can do some interesting stuff. Like, this is Parsva Padmaasana in Salamba Sarangasana. And like I said, I haven't warmed up, so... So this twists your colon. And if you do this when you have indigestion, or even when you don't, it will make you, eliminate. So like in a half hour, it'll make you eliminate because it's twisting your colon. It's actually massaging and twisting your colon. So you do that both sides, The object is, I'm kind of not in yoga shape right at the moment, but the object is to get this knee right down on the ground next to your ear. But I'm getting a good colon stretch right now. I can feel it, right? And that just serves to evacuate waste products out of your gut. This is kind of a nice contemplative position. You can sit in this for quite a while. You can also do some good stuff for your spine by pulling over like this, stretching out, just letting the weight of your legs pull your spine into a concave position, right? Then you can extend your legs, and this gives your spine even more of a massage. And you do that on both sides. And you can also go here. You can do I forget what this is called, but this gives you more intense neck stretch. It gives you more inner thigh stretch. You can go sideways like this, which twists your spine. All the time, of course, breathing deeply. If you're not talking on a video, that is. So this is all great stuff for getting blood in circulation into various parts of your body. If you're a singer like I am, it keeps your vocal cords in great shape because it's massaging them and it's increasing the blood supply to that area of your body. So there's so many benefits. It's worth, the 20 minutes, at this point 20 minutes, eventually 40 minutes, of doing this, 4 or 5 times a week. And according to Iyengar, when you hit 20 minutes and you maintain that for an extensive length of time, it will completely change your consciousness. So I'm going to experiment and find out if that's the case because, like 10 weeks from now, I'll be doing it 20 minutes every day, both the headstand and the shoulder stand. So that's, this is a hugely comfortable massage of the spinal area. I mean, this just feels so good.
Your breathing goes deep automatically. You're just deep. You're breathing from the deepest part of your diaphragm. So that's what we call Salamba Sarvangasana. I'll finish off with another pose. So anyways, I wanted to demonstrate that because health is not just about food. Obviously, it's about staying in shape. It's about, engaging yourself in physical activity. It's about mental health, all of which increases, I'm getting a cramp, all of which increases tremendously from a low-fat, raw vegan diet. Anyways, that's it. 20 at 70, I'm Trace Perot. 20 at 70 plant-based. If you like the content, please subscribe or like or share. And yeah, I made it to 70. And, it's great. I have no complaints. And yeah, I'm looking forward to 80. So take care.